Welcome to WGTV. I'm Eric Curry. We have several stories lined up for you today. Wake County Commissioners held their annual board retreat recently in Holly Springs. We'll have details. Plus, we'll share with you all the latest news involving Wake County Public Libraries. But first, after a national search for the successor of former Wake County Manager David Cook, who retired last year, County Commissioners recently announced the selection of Jim Hartmann as the next Wake County Manager. Mr. Hartmann will begin his post this month. As manager, Hartmann will be responsible for the administration of all county departments and agencies under the guidance of the Board of Commissioners and be charged with maintaining effective relationships with community partners and other government agencies. In his first appearance on WGTV, we welcome Wake County's new county manager, Jim Hartmann. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I guess the first question for a lot of the citizens is to just try to find out a little bit about Jim Hartmann and what he's all about.
Well, I've had a long and I think very successful career in public service. I spent about 8 years in the United States Coast Guard. Some of that on the Oregon coast, actually doing search and rescue, some of it as a boot camp drill instructor and an instructor of firefighting and first aid, and then at the Coast Guard Academy teaching paramedics at the Hospital Corpsman School. But I came to a point where I became married, moved to Florida, went back to school, and started a 13-year career with Orange County, Florida, which is Orlando. Had a number of different roles in that community. Then moved on to Eagle County, Colorado, which is high in the Rockies, home to Vail and Beaver Creek ski resorts, and a very large county. After that, I ended up going to Spartanburg County, South Carolina, served as a county administrator there as well, before taking the post of city manager of Alexandria, Virginia. Recently, I moved to Florida to take the post of Seminole County manager, and then when the Wake County job came up, it was too interesting to pass up, and the reputation of Wake County is too big, so I'm here today.
You know, what interests you the most about Wake County?
Wake County has a very large reputation among county governments and among city governments. It is noted for being a very well-run and progressive county. Obviously, there is a stellar team here, one that is very attractive to join and then help lead into the future.
Are there some issues that you will place as priorities as county manager?
Well, certainly, you know, my first priority is to get to know the staff and get to know the components of the community and establish a very strong working relationship with the Board of Commissioners. But the board has also articulated some very detailed goals and objectives that you'll be talking about a little later in your show. And I think implementing and exploring those goals as they've defined them is certainly a priority, you know, for my initial tenure here. It is welcome to have such well-articulated goals coming into the position and to be able to work with staff, because it also points me in the direction of learning more about each one of those items. As you can imagine, coming into a job like this, everything is new, all the faces, all the people, all the issues, all the consequences of any decisions. And so therefore, the more information and the more focused I can be over the next 6 months to 12 months is going to be very important.
Jim Hartmann, the new Wake County manager, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations and welcome to Wake County.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll share with you highlights of the Board of Commissioners retreat recently held in Holly Springs, and we'll give you the latest on what's being done to educate the public about protecting against the tuberculosis disease. Stay tuned.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back. Tuberculosis, commonly known as TB, is a bacterial infection that spreads through the lymph nodes and bloodstream to any organ in the body. It is most often found in the lungs. Most people who are exposed to TB never develop symptoms because the bacteria can live in an inactive form in the body. Many people are unaware that TB is still present in the U.S. and most importantly in North Carolina and Wake County, although the number of cases has declined thanks to the hard work of TB health professionals nationwide. So how is TB transmitted and who should be tested and who should not be tested? Well, joining us to talk about this disease is Dr. Jason Stout, TB Medical Director for the state of North Carolina and TB physician for Wake County, and Debbie Turner, a nurse with Wake County's Communicable Disease TB Control Division. Thank you so much for being here. Why are we talking about TB today? And, you know, I was under the impression that we no longer really had wide cases of TB anywhere in the country. So why are we talking about it now?
So in part we're talking about it today specifically because World TB Day is coming up, which is the anniversary of the day in 1882 when Robert Koch discovered the germ that causes TB. And this is an opportunity to think about TB at this sort of time of year and think about where we're going. And TB is actually still really common in the world. There are approximately 8 million new cases every year in the world, and about 1.5 million people die of tuberculosis every year. So it's a big global health problem. Fortunately, in the United States, the number of TB cases has been coming down continuously, and so that we have many fewer cases. We had, in 2012, we had fewer than 10,000 cases in the United States. So it's a problem that still exists here, but it's a big global health problem.
What about in Wake County? What are you seeing on a daily basis or monthly basis in regards of cases found here?
Traditionally, we've seen between 40 and 50 new people diagnosed with tuberculosis a year. That's come down in recent years, so that in the last few years we're closer to the mid-20s. But I think that just looking at those numbers is a little bit deceptive because we have, in order to find those people that really have tuberculosis, you have to look at a lot more people who have symptoms that are concerning or chest x-rays that are concerning for the disease. In fact, we did a study recently looking at sort of what public health in TB spends its money on, and we spend probably about 14% of our costs on people who end up not having tuberculosis. So that's a big part of what we do.
Now, what's the difference between latent TB infection and active TB disease?
Right. So when a person is infected with tuberculosis, meaning they're near someone who has the germ in their lungs, that person coughs, sneezes, speaks, and aerosolizes the germ. And the other person who is susceptible breathes it in. The germ multiplies, infects that person, and in most cases, the immune system will contain it so the person does not develop symptoms. That's a state called latent tuberculosis or latent tuberculosis infection. However, about 5% of people with a normal immune system who are infected by the TB germ will go on in the next 2 years to get sick with TB, and that's called active TB. And another 5% will get sick at some point in the rest of their life, and that can be 10, 20, 30, 40 years later.
Now, Debbie, do you ever see cases where individuals can be susceptible to this disease more than once?
Yes, a person can be exposed more than one time. There are different strains of TB. People can come in and be exposed in a population to more than one strain of TB.
So how does Wake County Health Department get into this prevention mode, so to speak, in trying to educate and help folks understand about this disease? What is Wake County doing?
A case comes in, a suspect case, then what we have to do is look and screen contacts. We go employers, household, social groups, and we try to find out who has been around that person the most, and then depending on the number of positivity rate, being that they have been exposed to the germ, we will expand our contact investigation. And then once a person's been exposed, we really try to encourage them and explain and educate. You've been exposed to the germ, you do not have the disease, now you need to take the preventative medicine to help decrease your chance of ever developing disease.
Right. Just to sort of add to that, so I think Wake County in particular has done 3 things to try to prevent tuberculosis. The first is what Debbie was just discussing, which is identifying people that have been recently exposed to the germ, screening them, and giving them medicine to prevent them from getting sick in the future. That's called a contact investigation. The second thing is identifying people who are at high risk, and in particular, it's usually people who come from countries where TB is common, screening them at the time of immigration, and giving those who are infected medicine to prevent getting sick in the future. The third thing, and perhaps one of the more innovative things that's being done, particularly in Wake County, has been community engagement. For example, we had a project that we were conducting for some years looking at neighborhoods in Wake County and which neighborhoods had higher numbers of people with tuberculosis residing in them. And through one of our outreach programs, we would go to those neighborhoods and offer free screening and free treatment, engaging the community. And that was an innovative effort, and I think it brought some results.
So, if folks have questions about this disease, who should they call?
They can call Wake County Human Services TB Control at 919-250-1228.
Dr. Jason Stout, Debbie Turner, thank you so much for being here to talk about this important health issue.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll share with you highlights from the recently held retreat the Board of Commissioners held in Holly Springs. Stay tuned.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
The Wake County Board of Commissioners recently held their board retreat at the Holly Springs Cultural Center. The retreat is held annually to allow the board and county staff to discuss and establish goals and objectives that are critical components to the growth and stability of Wake County government and the services provided to its citizens. Commissioners began the day receiving a presentation on the county's growth and demographic numbers, then received updates on the county's financial health. Later, commissioners were given an update on the accomplishments realized from their 2013 board goals. Some of the goals met included school bond referendum approved supporting $939.9 million capital bond program, adopted a $982.8 million budget with no tax increase, partnered with UNC Healthcare and Alliance Behavioral Health to transition county-operated services to community providers, awarded community capital funds to nonprofits addressing community needs, and increased live release rates of animals at the Wake County Animal Center. During the afternoon session, commissioners continued discussion on establishing board goals for 2014, which include fiscal strength and stewardship, community health, education, public safety, and effective and efficient county operations.
This is indeed an annual retreat with the Board of Commissioners. We do this to review our capital and operational budgets so the commissioners are aware of that. Also, prior to that, we give them a good idea of what's going on in terms of the economy, where we are with population growth, sales tax increases, and so they get a real good flavor of what our area, whether or not it's changed. And in the afternoon, we typically spend time talking about goals for upcoming years. Our board meets twice a month. We have a work session one time a month, so 3 meetings. At those meetings, we are very specific. We have an agenda that we have to get through. When you have a retreat, it's much more conversational. The board can talk about establishing long-term and short-term goals for the upcoming years, and that's why it's beneficial to get away and to have that type of detailed discussion.
We don't have any of those things that get our mind focused in other directions. We can strictly focus on the subject matter. For example, we've gone over so much today on numbers, budget items, and things of that nature. We can focus there without any interruptions. So when you pull away all the distractions, I guess is the best word, you can think a lot more clear. You can sit down at lunch as a group and talk and work out things much better. So it's ideal when you don't have to go 100 miles away, but if you can get away from where all the distractions are, you can think much clearer and you accomplish a lot more. Some of the key goals will be jobs, bringing jobs into Wake County, and as the report we got with today, our sales tax revenue has increased more than they had planned on, property tax, and more people coming in buying properties. That keeps taxes down, so jobs is a very important part of that. Another, emergency services, we look at that really close. Education, which we've talked about a lot today. Doing this in a relaxed atmosphere, and that lets the people know that we're looking out for their welfare, and by keeping the services they expect and we provide at no tax increase, that's a good measure at the end.
Mom, can I have $1? I think my purse is upstairs on the bed. It's not here. Check the dining room. No. The upstairs closet?
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Welcome back. One of the reasons why Wake County is still considered as one of the best places to live, work, and play is because of our wonderful library system. From story time for toddlers to adult book clubs to learning how to start a business, you can find almost anything by visiting one of our libraries. Joining us to talk about the latest going on within the library system is Andrea Perlstein, Adult Services Manager at the East Regional Library. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
The library has recently been awarded a grant by PNC Bank, and I've heard that it's pretty exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about this grant?
Wake County Public Libraries recently received a $125,000 grant from PNC Foundation's Grow Up Great program. And so it's a Smart Choices, Great Fun. So it teaches children about saving, spending, and sharing money. And we're really excited about it because we've been able to take that money and use it in different ways within our library system. We are going to be doing programs throughout the year using some of the wonderful Sesame Street characters. And during the year at the regional libraries, the preschool librarians will be talking to parents about saving, spending, and sharing money. And with the grant, we're able to buy books like this. And each child who comes to the once a month program that we do, the 1 week a month program, will get this little packet. Inside is all about spending, sharing, and saving money, and there's a DVD. And it has all sorts of wonderful Sesame Street characters in it, so kids will be very familiar with the characters, and then they'll learn about saving money. And of course, it ties back to PNC's banking that happens here in Raleigh. The other thing is we got some other nonfiction books with that money, which are beautiful and great for school-age children. This program is going to serve over 40,000 Wake County residents, so that would be caregivers, children, their parents, and these programs are going to be once a month for 1 week and through the end of August 2015. So it's going to be kind of fantastic for us.
As I understand it, this month is National Library Month.
It is.
What is the Wake County Public Library System doing to celebrate it?
Well, there's all sorts of great stuff happening. It is also Smart Money Week this month. So as a part of that, we're using some money from the grant, and we're going to be working with the Literacy Council of Wake County and doing programs for adults and parents and caregivers about doing family budgets. And so the Literacy Council is coming in and going to be doing those programs for us at the 6 regional libraries. And they can check our website to get details about that. We're also doing car seat checks at the North Regional Library and the West Regional Library. West Regional is going to be on April 15th from 10 to 12, and North Regional is going to be on the 16th from 10 to 12. And you just drive up into the parking lot, and Human Services staff is going to be there doing a little check to make sure the car seat is put in place correctly.
And you can't leave out the teens. What about the events for teens?
Well, this month we're going to be doing SAT tests, and it's not the actual test, obviously, but Kaplan's coming in and providing practice tests for the SAT and ACT at the 6 regional libraries, and it's the 4-hour exam, and they need to sign up online because registration is limited, and they can come in and take the exam, and they'll get their scores back in May. And the other thing that's happening is it's National Poetry Month. April is National Poetry Month. So we are doing our poetry contest for teens, and teens can submit up to 3 poems, original poems of course, online to our website, and we will be having some judges, professional judges, review them, and we will be awarding the winners a prize or a certificate in May.
And of course, we can't forget about the children events that are going on this month, and you brought along a little friend to kind of show us.
So this is Sly Fox, and he's a cute little critter who will be hiding around all of our libraries in Wake County. And what children can do is bring the fox, find the fox, and then bring it. Is
the fox stuffed or a live fox?
Well, normally he is stuffed. If you find a live fox in the library, we will be concerned. But bring him over to visit the librarian, and they will give each child a sticker, a little sheriff's badge. So that's just kind of a fun way for us to interact with children at the youth services desk and at the service desk. And then we also are going to be working with Flow Circus, and they're going to be doing something again with our PNC grant, and it's going to be called Juggling Money. It's for preschoolers, and they're going to learn about simple activities that they can do to understand about like the saving, sharing, and spending money at all the regional libraries, and you can check our website for details. For school-age children, Raleigh Little Theater is going to be coming by to the 6 regional libraries, and they're going to be doing a play about the Little Prince. And so that is about an aviator who is stranded in the Sahara Desert, and he meets a prince from an alien planet. So I think children would really enjoy seeing that in April.
Okay, well, there's lots going on now and in the several months ahead for Wake County Libraries. Where can folks find out more information about all the events?
So if you go to our website, it's wakegov.com/libraries, and then we have an events tab. And if you use that, you can go by age group, or you can also check it by location, and then click on the location, see the events that are happening at the location nearest you.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Andrea Pearlstein, the Adult Services Manager at East Regional Library, sharing us all the good news. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll share with you details about the county's Community Capital Funding Project. Stay tuned.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Thanks for joining us. In July of last year, the Wake County Board of Commissioners approved the process for selection of projects to receive community capital funding. Projects were reviewed and selected to receive funding through a competitive analytical process, which included a request for proposals, submissions by applicants, which were then reviewed by an evaluation team. 5 projects were recommended for the grants. All of the projects vary in the scope of the project, but the most important thing, they all represent a county-wide need. Joining us to talk about the program is Nicole Kreiser, Debt Manager for Wake County, and Ralph Capps, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Wake County, one of the organizations that received one of the grants. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
First, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about what the Community Capital Grants Program is?
Sure, Eric. The Community Capital Funds were established by the Board of Commissioners in 2002, and these funds are set aside in the county's Community Improvement Plan, or CIP. The funds are used to support investments and create partnerships for capital projects that address critical community issues and help address countywide problems.
And tell us about the process.
An evaluation team of both internal and external members, so we had internal county staff as well as representatives from the Wake ABC Board, the John Rex Endowment, and the Triangle United Way, reviewed the proposals, used a competitive analytical process, and then 5 finalists were chosen to present their projects, and those finalist presentations were used to determine ultimate recommendations for funding to the Board of Commissioners. Funds were allocated to the Boys and Girls Club, Southlight Healthcare, Interfaith Food Shuttle, Hospice of Wake County, and Wake Health Services. And it's for 5 distinct capital projects that the county is partnering with funding.
Okay, and Mr. Capps, can you tell us a little bit more about Boys and Girls Club and how this grant will help continue the mission of reaching out and reaching for these kids that need this service?
Absolutely. Boys and Girls Club is a youth development organization with a special concern for kids from disadvantaged circumstances. Our mission is to inspire and enable these young people to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. We have 7 Boys and Girls Clubs in Wake County. I have a membership of more than 4,700 school-age children. More than 900 a day attend our programs that we have for those young people. And in the Boys and Girls Club, programs really serve 2 purposes. One is they attract the kids to the club, so they got to be fun. And then the other is they've got to meet specific needs of those young people. And we're just excited about the fact that this grant is going to allow us to build a 16,000 square foot teen center on the corner of Raleigh Boulevard and Glasscock Street. So this program is going to allow us to expand our services to teens, both in the number of teenagers that we're going to be serving, really from all over the county, and then also the breadth of programs that we can provide for them.
It's just great news going on that corner.
Absolutely.
Nicole, now that the economy has started to turn for the better, not only locally but nationwide, share with us how the county is now ready to partner in future years with community agencies such as Boys and Girls Club.
Now that the economy is returning, the Board of Commissioners in the county, we feel that the time is now, we're able to fund these projects. $2.6 million is available for funding between now and fiscal year 2018. So in other words, in the next 4 years, the county will be awarding these funds to the organizations to partner for community capital assets.
Okay, and Mr. Capps, without this grant, how would you have been able to fund this building project?
Well, this grant is really part of a larger initiative of the Boys and Girls Club. Our goal is to serve an additional 2,000 young people here in Wake County. And this grant represents the largest commitment we've had to this program. This is a $12 million campaign that we are working with. And this grant from Wake County pushed us over the $10 million mark, assured that we can build our teen center. And I think the real value of it is that additional dollars that we're able to raise from the philanthropic community can now be used for the other initiatives that are part of this campaign. So I think it's a great partnership between public funding and private funding to be able to reach out and to serve more young people in our community.
Well, Nicole Kreiser and Ralph Capps, thank you so much for being here to talk about this important initiative.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Keep up with the latest Wake County news by visiting us online at the new wakegov.com/news or on Facebook or Twitter. That's our show for today. Thanks for watching.